started it. And gradually what happened, it spread across the world. Now there are I think 65 chapters, if I'm not mistaken, across the globe. 68. So 68 chapters across the globe. India itself is having 8 to 10 chapters. Right? And TYE Hubli is one such chapter. And what next they have done is to target the young minds, young students, 8 to 12 standard. Earlier it was people like me who have completed their graduation and with a business idea. Now we also would like to target the young minds. Young kids are having brilliant ideas, but they do not have support system. Usually parents don't take us seriously. When you say, Daddy, I want to do a business, hey, I'm going to rota illappa, yaare kododu ಅಂತಾರಲ್ಲ ಏನಂತಾರೆ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಹೋಗೋ ಎಜುಕೇಶನ್ ಮುಗೋ ಜಾಬ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋ ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ 3 ಲಕ್ಷ 4 ಲಕ್ಷ ಪ್ಯಾಕೇಜ್ per month is earning 3 to 4 lakh. Okay, is settled down abroad. Okay, but now what has happened, maybe 10-15 years ago in some European, but now we have grown out of that mindset, haven't we? Shruti? We have got the money. If you want to go abroad, you'll go abroad for a month or so on a tour, come back. India has got enough opportunities for us to make it big. Earlier we used to think of USA or Europe as technology giants. If you want to make something big, get out of India. But now the scenario has changed. Being in India, you can become a global superpower. Other countries, they look up to India now for technology. Okay, so that is the reason why we have come up with this program for 8 to 12 standard students. So what we'll be doing, 1 second, shall we go live?
Yeah.
Okay, right. So we are going to have 8 sessions under the TYE. It is known as TYE Young Entrepreneurs. TYE Young Entrepreneurs. So we already completed one session, and for the benefit of students, what we have done this time, we are going hybrid. A hybrid model is where you can come and sit in the classroom and you can learn, or from the comfort of your home. So yesterday somebody messaged me, sir, due to some unforeseen circumstances, I am not able to attend tomorrow's session. Can you please postpone it? I said no. For this exact reason, we have come up with an idea wherein from the comfort of your home, or today if you are not able to see it, tomorrow also you can do it, or maybe next week or next year also. So some of you who are coming for the first time today, you have missed last week's session. Last week's session was known as, anybody? Can anybody tell me what was the last week's session? Introduction to entrepreneurship, right? So first week we gave just an introduction to entrepreneurship. Now this is going to be the second meeting. Okay, it is business idea validation. So now, after the introduction, the second part, you want to validate it. You want to know whether your business idea is a good one, whether it is going to work out, whether it is made for today's world and tomorrow's world, whether it is going to generate income, money, right? What if your business is not going to, it is a very old idea and you are not aware about it? So you need to have this system. So for that purpose, we have got a speaker today, Ajay Kabadi. He is the founder and CEO of Rocketron Tech Private Limited, and AI Video, Artificial Intelligence Video Analytics Company. Ajay is also the CTO of Chadwam Foundation and AI for Agriculture organizations. He has over 5 years of experience in AI, business development and sales. His previous experience working with Deshpande startups as a tech lead, supporting startups from proof level, building teams to production. He has been awarded by Maruti Suzuki, MG, Morris Garages, the government of Karnataka, NASCOM, BRAC and IKP towards the COVID-19, TYE Hubli and more. He's also trained over 30,000 students and faculty on Industry 4.0 and Indian Army students. All right, so with great privilege, let us welcome Mr. Ajay Kabadi.
You want to test it first?
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah.
Thanks, Rajiv. Thanks for the lovely introduction. Good morning, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Myself, Ajay Kabadi. I run a company called as Topitran Tech Private Limited. We build solutions for factories. What we do for factories, to give you a small example, you have seen CCTV cameras. Why we use CCTV cameras? Okay. For security. What the other purpose we use it for? To prevent them. And that's where we have installed these cameras everywhere, including the factories as well. What we have designed as Rocketron is, you know that brain has a lot of things going, maybe a couple of things goes into your head, a couple of fuse by when the session goes, right? And you are able to store a lot of information in your head. Whenever we were born, we didn't know how to speak, and that's why we were sent out to schools to learn mathematics, science, etc. And that's where the brain adapted in, right? Similarly, for a machine which doesn't know anything, right? If I'm taking that Windows laptop as such, we are clicking a button and opening a folder, right? It doesn't have any knowledge or it's not predicting what's happening. So what we do is we take those cameras data, which goes to an intelligent box, which thinks like a human. What it does inside a factory is from the camera which are coming as a light, it checks who are trespassing in your compounds, who are giving a theft, right? Who checks in a factory is a lot of procedures, right? You need to wear an helmet, a hard crash helmet. You need to wear various jackets. There are safety shoes also. It checks, are you wearing those? If you are operating a machine, how you are operating those machines? Are you working in a proper manner or not? Where a supervisor was usually monitoring that, instead of that, camera sees that. Right? Detection of fire, smoke on the cameras, detection of if a machine is about to hit a person, before an accident can happen, it can stop it. A number plate reading as such. So these type of innovative solutions that we build in. How many of you use Google Assistant? Everyone, right? For what purpose you use Google Assistant? What type of task which you are assigned to Google Assistant?
Asking questions.
Asking questions, right? Set up a reminder, alarms, etc. When I started using Google Assistant and Alexa, it was not able to adapt the Indian language where we try to communicate, but now you can see it's able to adapt on the various contexts and various vocal frequencies as well. And it's adapted. Now it has an Amitabh Bachchan voice for Alexa's, which has got introduced. So we have been evolving on this. And recently we have been hearing about a lot of ChatGPT also. How many of you utilize ChatGPT for your various exams or exercises or assignments as such? Almost everyone, right? Okay. So you are any students coming from engineering or schools?
Schools.
Okay. How many are something, an idea to work with, something, an idea which you are trying to validate? Okay. Great. Can you name a few, take a minute or so and explain what type of idea which you are working on? Yeah.
There are franchises of Chotu Kolhapuri, there are franchises of chain stores of the natural hair salon. I have an idea of building dairy franchise chains of dairy.
Okay.
Yeah, in outskirts of cities.
Great.
It's a traveling idea. I mean, traveling agencies idea. Right now, because of the kind of the traveling agencies and the scope of India is very high, right? So when you do the calculations that how many travelers are there, that can be classified into two. One is medical traveling, that the people come from outside the country to India for the medical purposes. Second is normal traveling. So what my idea is to build a certain platform in which it gives all the necessary items. What are the places that you should go, how many money that you can spend, and all the scams that are happening that can be avoided, that you can see on YouTube. Yeah.
So you have multiple ideas in your mind and you want to execute that.
Yes.
And is always in your backup of your mind that is my idea can be validated by customers, because customer is the one who will consume your product and that's where you're going to pay for it. Right? So today's presentation, we're going to focus on how you're going to validate your idea, how do you get to know who your customers are, how you can build your revenue streams. We'll do some couple of activities also, which will further jot down. If you don't have an idea also, don't worry. This will give you a great schematic, a platform of this session, which you will understand what are the bits and pieces which you can learn from this and start executing on your ideas to validate this is what the customer requires. Right? Only my brief introduction is already been said. I'm doing my master's in visual intelligence also in Yale University by pursuing my visual intelligence. Apart from that, I work for Doggett and helping a lot of NGO. By NGO, I help a lot of agri-based companies also. We have played with this. Do you remember?
Yes.
What it does?
It kind of sends the noise to the person.
Transfers the noise.
Transfer the noise, right? So whenever we used to tie a paper cut and tie a thread, and then that's where if somebody talks in, that used to resonate and create a voice, right? If there is some distortion, the other side part of it was not able to hear that, right? There was a fantastic idea that we had in our childhood that this is how the connection we can create a telephone call itself. Right? That's how our childhood had been. Right? So this is how we have been thinking. We used to tinker a lot during our kid days. I try to take some papers, try to do something. That's how the creativity which we get in. What's the goal of an idea validation, right? It's to determine does the business requires that idea. I have two questions for you. You need to find a solution first or a problem first.
Problem.
And why is that?
Because without problem, how can you find solutions?
Right? It's always the thing, right? What I've seen in my experience by talking with various students as well as startups is they try to find first the solution of this and then try to reverse engineer and try to find a problem for it. That must not be a way. It needs to be that you need to find a problem first, determine does it requires a business need, and then start articulating what solution you can build for these segments as such. Right? One of the interesting part which I would like to highlight on, Google was the 20th search engine. Before that, there were multiple search engines in the platform, and now we can see every day that we use it, we start with Google and then we search for the respective links itself. And you can imagine Google had made it a great segment to acquire the right customers in place, even with being a 20th search engine and 20th search social network like Facebook. They were able to populate and make sure that they are coming with greater interest, they are targeting the right customers, providing the right revenue streams, and taking it forward to the mass level. Right? Whenever we find an idea which comes to your mind, that's something you start jumping on, right? Hey, that's a good idea. Whenever I had in my mind, I also shared my story also, how my idea validation occurred and how I failed also on my journey and how Doggett got found out. But always, whenever an idea hits up, we jump on. We start creating a solution first rather than validating it. Right? So mainly what I was saying was also solution in search of a problem, right? What is called as ISP. We take a solution and then solve a problem, which is the wrong way to do it, rather than start researching on a problem and then go forward on the solution part of it. Right? Testing or validating your ideas is correct path if you want to identify the potential risk earlier. Right? There are two types of mindsets, which is a future-driven mindset, where I say that I need this feature and that feature and machine learning and so on. Right? I'll come up with a solution. I think that maybe ChatGPT is a great tool. I start finding out maybe in ChatGPT I'll add this feature, maybe my customer needs it. And I start finding a more of a feature mindset rather than having an actual problem-based mindset as such, where we need to be making sure that we are on a learning-driven mindset, where we find and search for a problem X and need to learn what products and what type of solutions which are already there in the market. As an example, when Uber came in, right, and then Ola replicated over here, we had always a problem. And now you can see there is a new app which is being launched in Bangalore, Rapido. There is one more for auto they have launched it. It's an open source platform. Can you recall this? Ola and Uber were charging at very hefty prices during the worker hours. and they found out a right opportunity, and they are scaling up as an open source platform, which is 100% authenticated and transparent. It's called as Yatri. It connects. Have you heard of this?
Yes.
Right? What they've done is Uber and Ola were charging at very hefty prices, and a lot of amounts which auto drivers gets a trip-wise payments done were actually getting stored in the Ola wallets and the respective Uber wallets. And by the time the commissions cutting and everything coming out, they were under the losses as well. So now what that Urban Yatri has been doing is they created a 100% open source platform. They found that these are the challenges which have been happening from many years. So they have created a platform where a passenger who wants to go from a point A to B goes to that app, books an auto, and you can even choose which auto you need to choose in nearby, or it auto suggests as well. And there is no hidden fees as such. It's a 0% interest. It's a transparent, you can pay to an auto person directly via a cash or a UPI itself. Right? And it has been, when I was in Bangalore a couple of days back, I was seeing around 15,000 rides which are happening on day-to-day basis. And that's the scale what they are. If they follow the opportunity, they know that there was a problem over there, what customers are facing in, which was where auto drivers were getting heavily charged, and also a lot of problem with, we don't know that where point A and point B, this auto dropper also need to do it, right? In Ola, you just accept and then they accept the call, then okay. Then you say that I need a drop at 100 ganta, and then they cut the call. Right? That's how it happens. And the 10-15 rupees of an extra charging happens to you. So everything is eradicated, and now there is a great potential what they have found out. What these other Rapido or other platforms that we can see. How do you evaluate your ideas? Of course, desirability is human. Human is the one who will utilize your product. You need to understand and profile your customers. What type of different customers what we have? We need to design it. We need to profile it as a customer. As an example, the Yatri app which I was trying to share. The customer profiles are the people staying in Bangalore, right? Who wants to travel from different points to point, who wants to take care of smaller expenses where they can afford an auto-based travel agency, right? And customer profile. The age groups, as an example, what are the primary locations where the auto people are available other than cab people? I will customer profile it based on the needs. Right? If I am targeting Instagram as such, maybe my youngster group is my main customer profile. I will take care of maybe around age group of 10 to 30. That's my major influential market, right? And the people who are doing an engineering might be the people who are good into reels, comedies, everything. I will target those parts. So I'm customer profiling it because those are the consumers who will utilize this as a product. Then how viable it is? There are different types of viable business. How you're going to make the payments done? How you're going to extract the payments via this platform? What type of impact which you are creating? Right. When I'm creating an impact as such, if I take an example of Instagram, there are so many influencers who are coming out where they are able to showcase their talent and also earn by this platform by the paid partnership as well. That's where the Instagram is creating an impact for those individuals. They have created a platform for free for the users to log in, but there is an impact which they are creating for these influencers. They can earn from an Instagram platform or via the paid partnership itself. And they are going masses at multiple locations across the globe. Feasibility on a technology, how easy it is to use. You might create for a problem to a solution, it needs to be something which is easy to book, which a customer can understand what type of flow of the pattern needs to be. Which you click on the button and then you are able to book something, right? If I want to buy something online as a food delivery, I go with Swiggy and Zomato. We can see that the options which they give you pictures, they give you what type of menus are available, or what rates, etc., and how the bifurcation looks like. And it's easy to go, and our thumbs usually go easily at that bottom right. And I click on that, the technology is easily, they are able to know that if I click on this, then I go to the next one. If I have this place order button at the top, I don't get much of an experience over there. How easily you will build the solution where customer can quickly adapt and start giving you the results on those parts. So that's why the desirability where human needs in, you need to understand the empathy part of a customer. I will talk more about empathy on how do you understand the customers, point of view, how do you validate the idea, I'll also touch upon post this presentation. Desirability, viability, and then integrity and feasibility, which we talked about. That's where the speed support comes in, and that's where you can innovate and build these interesting products on the day. Right? So now coming to how to evaluate your startup ideas, couple of examples to give you. Consider you want to create an online painting platform as an example. Since somebody told me they are good in paint, right? She's good in paint. Can she convert a passion, right, to something as an idea which she can think of, then convert it to an actual product, and something which I can relate on, maybe a platform to sell paintings online might be one medium, but also she can combine multiple artists coming from multiple platforms at multiple locations. To do that, to want to go directly with an e-commerce, building a solution doesn't make sense. What she needs to do? She needs to bring an artist and they will populate their paintings in that platform. So whom she needs to contact with? Other artists. Other artists, right? She needs to go as a face-in-face, understand the paint problem, what they have in. Is it really they are unable to sell the paints online? Is an online medium better to sell the paints online? Is there are events which makes these artists showcase their talent, and that's where it can attract customers. So it's mainly a Q&A list which you prepare, which you can go and talk to them. That might be a one way. Or you can populate a Google form which you can create, and she can start getting multiple questions, and based on the interest, she can get into the data. Because data plays a major role. One way might be physical connects which I showed you, one might be collecting the data, or one might be interacting with the customer itself, what type of platform are they looking for to purchase these paintings at, because they want to feel also what we have seen in couple of showrooms. They have a dedicated showroom to feel those paints as well, right? There are multiple criteria where she needs to go and understand this problem. But if it's more of a software based, as an example, as a social network, what we can see, right? I will go to my youth to understand, like, if I want to post my day-to-day activities, what type of activities which I want to do, which I want to share to my friends. As an example, Snapchat did it really well. And how many of you are maintaining streaks? Almost everyone, right? Before a day goes by, I will be like, I need to maintain my streak. Right? And they build the tendency because they know that as a youth of age of this to this group, as a young talent, we want to target as a Snapchat where you want to keep your maintenance streak, and they make sure that you open that app on a day-to-day basis since they don't need to maintain the streak. Right? And how they were able to adapt and build this solution because they have interacted with multiple customers who are youth students itself, who wants to post their day-to-day activities as such. Right? That's how they have done their customer profiling. So customer profiling plays a great role where this will give you an easy one. Somebody might tell a physical showroom itself helps. How we can bridge a similar platform and then start building upon that? Because multiple customers, multiple suggestions. But can you see multiple points in that and create a common platform which is useful for them and create a small concept out of it? It becomes an actual product which can be catered to multiple markets as well. Right? And then one of the interesting part is Flexport. Flexport was a great company which exports international trades. Ryan was coming with a great experience who knew about how the trade works, and he was able to adapt with his experience in this and then finding out that. So there might be multiple experience. The people who might be in chemical fertilizers, which I was hearing, who was what?
Can you just tell me what this export is? What business they are doing?
Okay, so export, what they do is they trade at multiple international level. If you have packages, right? The packages which can transfer from place to place. Ryan had an experience on international trade, how import works around the world. By taking that as an experience, he has created a Flexport. With Flexport, you can import the materials at a greater aspect, because if you want to import something, you know the challenges which you have. So what Flexport does is, it's an easy to way platform where you can you can import the materials from various countries around the world in an easy way itself. Where you want to have packages of materials to be delivered at the locations, you can get it done via Flexport itself. What other ATDC and other platforms also do. So, apart from this, how do you make sure that you are solving a big problem, right? Let's take an example of Airbnb. How many of you have heard about Airbnb? multiple, right? So what Airbnb is all about?
It's about renting the house.
Renting the house, right? How the idea started?
The real estate was downfalling in the America
Mhm.
at the time, and the two people who founded it came with an idea
Mhm.
that how can we, kind of monetize the house that we are living in.
Right? That was a huge problem over there. And by seeing that a huge problem as such, the houses were already there. Somebody wanted to give that part of the space as a rented out, and was a great platform to start by as well. Right? So, a great example might be YouTube also. I take some couple of case studies also to make you understand how you can articulate in better way what is called as lean canvas in a platform. Right? What are different recipes which you can get your startup ideas? What are different type of methodologies which you can think about the ideas might populate or come out? One is you might have some experience, a background experience working on this particular domain, as Ryan was having an international trade experience or such, and then utilize those and see he has seen his experience on that, and then he created a market out of it, creating a great solution for a pain problem that he had found out. That was one way to do it. Think of the things which you wish someone else would build for. Right? A couple of years back, when I was doing engineering, I never thought. My friend told me that we communicate as a friends via messages, the personal messages, but and via internet we can do the messages. And I was like, that doesn't sound good. Couple of months back itself, we found out that WhatsApp is the one way where we can communicate via internet and text our friends. Right? So it's something when you think of the things what others can build for. If you can think that as a pain problem, where people say you right, in ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ better ಇರುತ್ತೆ ನಾವು. Can this be done in a better way? ಈ type think ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ. So our type thinking capabilities you can also think and get some idea and start populating on that part. I just told painting, but then I related to online painting also. So can you brainstorm within yourself? If you don't have an ideas also, is somebody, your friends or colleagues here, if you want to brainstorm and combine together, is also a great aspect. Somebody might have a problem, you might be good in solution, you can collaborate also. So your team expertise will play a great role, where individual will not able to suffice. When I say individual, you might be good in something, but having multiple expertise, you can say as a co-founder, who can collaborate, somebody might be good in finding problems, business needs, somebody might be building solutions. So you need to go hand in hand with the team expertise that plays a great role. What would be you be excited to work for 10 years, even if you didn't succeed? You might, something in your mind you have it, right? I want to pursue my engineering as such. I want to be a doctor. So can those vision what you have in where your parents want you to pursue this thing, can you be on a similar platform and find the solution for this, find a similar problem for those segments also? That might be also a crucial area too. Look for things that have changed in the world recently and think of the ideas that are now possible because of this change. When we saw Google search with handful of data, and then we saw that Google having so much of handful of data around the globe, then they introduced Brad. Brad is similar to ChatGPT as a platform, where ChatGPT uses some previous data assets, but Brad is on real-time data. Whatever now we search, based on a huge amount of data what they have created a tool of it. So what it does, it means from the existing platform what we have, is there a change what we can bring in, as an extension what we can bring in, right? UPI got created, right? But now the UPIs are getting integrated at multiple platforms. It might be banking, it might be on an e-commerce based platform. Everywhere you can see the integration happening. And we also see that Zomato and Swiggy are a platform for food platform, but government is coming up with their own platform. When cities are not right? Yes. So they're coming with their own platform as such, because they have seen the gaps what this Swiggy and Zomato is creating. So with the change what we are going through, can we see a new extension, or we can build in a new upgrade which can make the existing system better and faster as well? That can be one more way to think of it. Find companies that have been successful recently and look for new variants of them. If you are unable to find a problem as an example, look for companies which you can get experience over there, or gain an experience by making a visit to their respective factories. Look for the problems over there as which they have been successful in their thing. It might be an industrial, it might be a software based. as operator, we might have been working in multiple segments. You can come and ask me, and the industry folks which are over here, you can also have an interaction with what type of pain problems, what they are feeling. If they are into the petroleum industry as such, they can start interacting with multiple petroleum segments over there, finding a similar patterns. Is there a problem which I am able to find? Similarly, in sector like AI, which we are working with factories, start interacting with us, gaining, as more you talk, the more insights which you get, and start creating an ideas. Look for crowdsource coming up with an idea. What do you mean by crowdsource? Is if you are not able to or not getting much time, if you are more of an introvert, having a kind of an idea, you might want to build something, but you are somewhere back if you want to are still into that nurturing mode to interact with customer. There are a couple of tools which are available called as crowdsource, where a lot of government bodies, private bodies tell that this is the problem what I have, which are available online, which you can opt for, which you can start planning for. What they tell is this is what the problem what we have, and then they ask you for expertise solutions. And multiple students participate from various platforms, and one of the best idea which is providing for those platforms gets prize and gets some award prizes also working on those segments. That might be one more way where crowdsourced problems are being circulated at multiple platforms. One of the crowdsourced platform which is very good is Startup India website itself. The Startup India website populates multiple problems over there. Again, already mentioned about which industries which you are familiar with, start having a discussion with them, what type of challenges, what they are facing in. If they are doing more of a paperwork work and media industries, you can go and tell them what are the digital products which you can build in as well. Let me tell you my story as such, what made me to create as a docketer as a platform where I stand in. I was an engineering student, want to get my graduation done, get some recruitment done in maybe a 9 to 5 job, and get a best weekend to enjoy my days in Bangalore or Pune or Mumbai of Saturday and Sunday and enjoy my life. That's how my perspective was when I joined engineering. I was pursuing my information science on 2014 when I was pursuing. I didn't know I was just wanted an internship because internship gives you that capability, right? If you have done internship, you can land up in a better job because you already have that experience in place. That's how my perspective was. Very bad in C programming. I used to copy from a terminal and paste it in another platform so that it used to pass. So that's how. Early form of ChatGPT. So we used to connect multiple multiple terminals. There were multiple systems actually. So I and my friend had cracked a code where I can copy the codes. And I was so into copying these codes was when there was a platform as a lab which comes in called as ADA. ADA is basically tells you and gives you concept like AND gate, NOR gate, etc. And you need to write a program for that. And when you write a program, you input some values. If you are inputting 10 and 20, the result might be 30 as an example. So I created a if-else condition set, and there is no logic, nothing. Madam, so madam thought it is logic inside something which is doing, but actually I had given if this, answer is this. If this is this. If madam had told some other inputs, then it was wrong. So that's how my tendency was to get out of these labs, get some decent marks, land it up in a better job, maybe earn a particular stipend as such and go forward. But what changed was coming to a Deshpande Shardar. Previous Deshpande Shardar was just about maternity, this small maternity, this is petrol bunk. So that's where there was an event, which again was more of an hackathon event, where problems were populated from multiple industries, and there were so many students working on different interesting solutions. And there was some guy who was holding an Arduino. It's a small device, just like your SIM card, where you are blinking the LED. He was controlling the fans inside that the setup. What it has become. I was like, wow! It felt like suddenly a 3 idiots in mind. Right? He was able to control. He told, "Come here, I'll show you how to blink the tube also." He started blinking the tube light. Okay. It's interesting. Somebody will install their lights whenever it comes. Already we have the street lights, right? Whenever it comes, it was able to sense the body and it was calling them. I was like, okay, that's good. Now we have Fitbit and other watches, but they already had a watch which was created, which was able to monitor the heart rate. And this is something interesting, right? Which I am not exposed to. I was only exposed to these programming languages. Then I told like, can I work somewhere? Can I work somewhere? That's where they introduced me to work with a 3D printing company. Again, that was the biggest failure. The reason was we created a solution first and then looked for a problem. What was that actually is we wanted to just how Ola copied Uber, we copied a 3D printing platform which was global. It's named called as 3D Hubs. 3D Hubs is a platform. Consider he owns a 3D printer, right? And multiple people own a 3D printer. We wanted to create a platform. If I am a customer wants a 3D printer nearby, they come to my platform and he gets connected with them. He ships by with the name of our brand. That's what we wanted to do, right? And during that time, when I'm talking about 2015, we were very early to the market, and the product market fit was not validated properly. There were very few customers, but there were a lot of iterations, a lot of calls coming from there. They were not validating. Whenever he prints it, whatever the model he prints in, he just ship up. What 3D printer is like a rangoli, simple. What it does is it has a filament which melts by, and as it melts by, it creates a particular product. Consider if this particular stand which you can see in, right? If this gets broken, you can design it and print it via that. Right? So that's how these printers were very popular, still they are, and you are able to print this type of different colors combination and these hard shapes. That's how we started it, and I didn't get paid any single penny. I used to spend my nights over there. I used to work 24 hours over here. Go to my college. I had a shiny glares actually, so I used to sit in the front bench and I used to sleep. So nobody used to get to know as well that I was used to sleep. Usually on my fourth year, my lecturer found out I used to sleep a lot, and that's where my journey started. I was able to export immense knowledge what these startups were providing me. And then once I came out, it was the biggest failure. I thought of coming out since there was no strategy which was there. There was no actual market segment which was done. There was no strategy. We were going on the go. The customer requires it, we'll build it for them. If tomorrow he asks this A feature and B feature, we were building that. So it was going as feature level rather than on a problem oriented. And it didn't work. But what I came out from that with an immense knowledge, what I've got it from technology. But again, I was not ready to create something new. That's where I was good in building products, good solutions actually. So I wanted problems to come and face with me. That's where I became a technological lead, where there are multiple startups having multiple problems, and I started preparing solutions for them. I started building the teams, I started building the capabilities, started building a small proof of concept, what they can show it to customer and build the products. That's where it got me a great experience as such, by talking to multiple founders, co-founders, and that was my experience as such. This is this way I've gone through. Through that, when I came out, I started finding out these are the industries which I need to talk to. I started discussing with steel industries, automotive industries, having a one-on-one discussions, and started creating this platform. That's how my journey looks like. Because I gained the experience which I failed in, and then created a platform. During that journey, I started interacting with the customers. Customers are nothing but the startups which I was interacting with, and then started gaining my experience in this. So to make this activity as such, what we're going to use it as a lean canvas. It's a sketch for any business that can fit in one page. One page which can fit in, which have a clarity of what are the segments. So each of you have an idea. If you don't have an idea, there will be an activity as a sheet. There is a copy. So, a particular printout which is given to you is called as lean canvas, where you might have an idea, right? You have seen a problem which is there in your mind from maybe from months or years at a time, and you want to validate your idea. Right? This becomes a perfect meet, where it covers multiple modules, where as a problem, what problem you have seen, what you have identified, and which are the top 1 to 3 problems which you have identified in this particular segment, which you can list now. If you need some time also, you can utilize pencil. I'll show you some couple of examples, and then we'll do this activity. Till then, you can keep it with you and start analyzing what type of problems which you have seen in the market. Start listing down. If you have pencils and erasers, also it will be really good. Or try to have a rough, use the backside white paper, try to write something down, and then once I have a refined problem statement identified, then you can come back to this and start writing down your problem. Then you have identified this problem, what type of existing alternatives are there? I told you an example that Uber, Rapido is already there, but what we have seen is an auto-based platform called as Yatra has come in. What they have seen is there are existing alternatives, right? Which you're gonna note it down over here. It says list how these problems are solved today. Ola might be providing a solution via the aggregator platform. It might be via Uber. They have. So these are the alternatives what we have. What are the existing solutions which are already available in the market? To give you one more simpler example, online painting I want to sell, but there are other alternatives, right? I have my painting showroom where customers itself visits over there. That's an alternative way also to sell this painting. So these are the alternatives which you wanna mention over here. I'm going to repeat again. Problem is the top. You can, if it's more than 3 also, please note it down. It's nothing hard. Just an activity which you are analyzing and checking an activity part of it. So problem, the major problem which you are having, and what are the existing solutions which are out there in the market. And what solution you are providing it. It can be a brief bullet points or it can be a sentence which can make sure that the problem which you have identified is rightly getting articulated what solution which you are providing. Make this solution more of a non-technical so that any layman can understand. As an example, even your parents can understand what type of solution you are providing. For me as an example, if I want to communicate what I'm trying to do, how do I communicate? Right? I might be doing a video analytics platform, AI, machine learning, etc. They won't understand what AI is, what machine learning is all about. Right? How do you make your parents understand what type of solution you are providing? In a simple terms, I'll say that existing CCTV cameras which are being connected to a machine which thinks like a human brain and sees what's happening around across the factory in a very simple term. Right? There is no AI, there is no jargons, there is no something called as deep tech, deep learning, which brain doesn't understand. Can you make it much simpler where solution when you're writing and anyone can understand that part? Key metrics are nothing but the key numbers which will tell you how project is doing. If you have done some couple of metrics as an example, what type of market size which you have, what type of target customers which you see, which are the key metrics for your needs. Why you are unique? There are existing alternatives, there are existing market, the existing solution providers. How you are unique and compiling what stands apart on the solution what you are providing. You see some couple of examples as well. Till then you can start this thought process. And also a high level concept, which I'm going to show you some couple of examples on high level. Take a pause on this and move to the next one. Then how do you buy and support? These people who support you, need you, or could block you. These are some competition which you have. The people who can support you, it might be an integration which you needed. You need a collaboration to do something with them, and then your product gets and solution gets created for the problem which you are looking at. Or there might be competition in place. How they can block you in the competition in place. So those can be mentioned. What are the customer segments? What are the customer segments which I told you? How do you profile your customers? Right? Who are your target customers? The target customers of different segments, which might be business to business. If I package the docket runs video analytics system, goes to business, or business to, right? Directly I go and sell it to this factors itself, right? This is a business to business. What this e-commerce are mainly aggregator platforms. And what we have is B2C. Directly you have a shop, I go and take these items, whatever I need. It's a B2C customer. And what I do different segments, what I am looking at. And out of these, all the segments which I will be having in, who will be the first one who want to test my product, the proof of concept, or whatever the demo product which you want to do and test it out, who are the early adapters, who will consume your first initial product. And then we have what's the budget you are actually looking for. Everything comes with the budget, right? The budget which you require, maybe you require some infrastructure, you might need to purchase some services of software, domain. As an example, you want customer interaction, so you might be a travel expenses, such. There are multiple expenses which can make and build a proof of concept. What are different budgeting which you can do, which might be a fixed cost as well as variable cost as well. And what type of value are they creating? How do you gonna charge for a particular model, right? Instagram doesn't charge for the users who are coming in, but it charges for who?
Creators.
For the creators, right? They have recently did a good revenue. Why? How? There might be an influencer who talks about your product, and whenever influencer talks about it, it goes via this channel. So what are the multiple channels where customer will be interacting with your product or taking your or buying your product in more of an internal or external way? Okay. So that's how we do. We took an example of Instagram. Instagram is helping influencers by getting their paid partnership, but then internally earning by the blue tick, which got recently introduced. So that's how they're earning platforms. And the monetization was like, and the channel was their existing platform itself, where they're able to. Okay? Take a small break, then we'll understand with a couple of examples and take it forward with our actual idea.
much.
Got any doubts? They can disturb this meeting also, right? Yeah, they need to know. Yeah, they need to disturb. See, any doubts, anything generated, please ask him.
Now the major part of slide presentations are over. Now it's mainly the interaction.
Interaction part will happen now, right? I think only some 8 to 10 more slides are there. Okay. And at the end of this session, okay, last week itself I had introduced, we will have one student come up here and talk about any topic. So last week we had got Avnish speaking, and this week also he has come up with a topic. Anybody else have anything to talk about?
No, once they work on lean canvas, they can come.
They can come and explain their own research. So that means everybody will get an opportunity to come here. I want everybody to come here. You know why?
Builds up confidence.
It builds up confidence.
No? Why?
Don't worry, there is nobody. They will help you out.
What is your talent? I have the right to remain silent. I have the right for a phone call. I have the right for my lawyer. Right? Okay, no problem. The only thing, you can just come here, you have to come here and speak up so that you gain confidence. Okay? Right? Shall we continue?
Let's have all our phones in silent mode so that we have a good concentration. So I told you that I worked to gain my experience in this party startup, and then I started software. Initially, we were into retail analytics. What we were doing is we were building some AI products, and then we started a traction, and then we won a program called as Maruti Suzuki Innovation Program, which happened to be the first code. What is Maruti Suzuki Innovation Program is? It's an innovation program which finds out a unique companies who have great capabilities or great products what they are building in, or they might find a great strength also, where Maruti can utilize their strengths in building some innovative products, which again helps their respective customers. And during that journey, all over India, they selected 5 companies. We were one among them, and we were only the company from Tier 2 city like Hubli. And we were too excited, right? When you hear the word which is echoing, and whenever you go at multiple places, you will probably say that you are from Doctor and your customer is Maruti. It feels good, right? And they gave a problem to solve, which for the showrooms or retail showrooms. You have these showrooms of their 4-wheelers, right? The Nexa and one more which they already have is like Arena. Nexa is a premium version what they have. What they told is you have done so many products on camera-based solutions. Why can't you build a solution where you can capture the age, the gender, how much time they spend inside a showroom, did they give you a coffee or a tea, and that's the so on and so forth. Because they want to know that sitting in head office, they want to calculate how many customers are visiting in which locations, which is a peak time when customers comes in, right? What is the maybe it's in Hubli, maybe people might have a high footfall on 5 to 7 in the evening. Maybe in Bellary they might have around 6 to 7 in the evening. So they wanted to know the heat maps across India, across the state, so that they can run multiple marketing or ad campaigns over there. because they know that the marketing campaigns will be based on the people and the profiles what they are visiting. That's where they wanted to capture from the camera. And we were too excited. Maruti gave a problem, and it's the problem of everyone also. That's how the thought process started. Right? If Maruti Suzuki has a problem of a similar solution, what they are looking for, or the pain problem to understand the customer profiling who are visiting in the dealership, on a mode that they want to buy a car or not. That's where our understanding on what car they are displaying. It might be a Wagoner, Desire, what color we were detecting all those scenarios. So they wanted to design those, and there's something called as Hero Car of the Month, where they have to get some good discounts on those, and they want to set up a high targets and have them displayed on. So there were multiple combinations of the problem which was being provided to us, and they were looking for a solution. And we as Rocket were too excited. We told like, oh, let's build a solution where every dealership and every automotive will require a similar solution. And we jumped on and created a solution rather than interacting with multiple automotive showrooms. Okay. And what happened was the solution was ready. The solution, the price point, what was there, Maruti didn't want to pay for that price point because it involved a deep tech, which was analyzing customer friends, where Maruti Suzuki wanted a dealership to pay. Dealership had a big question mark in his head, telling that I've invested so much of my money in getting this infrastructure up. I've got my new setup for an arena showroom, which you have told me to buy my furnitures, tables, and overall setup which you needed, which is being converted. Again, now we have invested for cameras. Now you tell it to invest for this software box also, which costs this much. Maruti didn't want it to pay because they want to make sure that dealership itself pays it. And then once we started hunting that Maruti, we told that let's bifurcate, and then they're like dealership itself needs to pay, but dealership didn't want it to pay. Solution was there, but the solution was useful for Maruti, right? But dealership wanted to pay for that. And then we started, once solutions are already built up, and there was a biggest learning for us, since we didn't have customer profiling that, since we didn't go and interact with our multiple automotive showrooms, without previously taking a problem, telling that if this similar problem would have been happened for multiple customers, then building this product would have been really difficult. This might be a problem of Maruti Suzuki only. If I have gone to Toyota, if I have gone with Hyundai, MG, looking for similar alternatives, maybe I would have found a thin layer on a niche segment, or I would say that this is the problem which everybody faces. Then I would have started and went back to Maruti. This is what I can create. This is what I cannot create, because this is a common platform what I can see. That was the biggest learning for us. Maybe we went on with a good excitement by having a big brand name in our portfolio, but it didn't work out. So whenever in your journey also, if you have a problem coming from a biggest industry, from a people which you are interacting with, which may be some reference which you don't interact with few people, interact with many people as possible, so that before building in something, you build the right solution in front, where the customer actually pays for that. Because every person that you meet in, you tell that this is the problem what I've identified. Oh, very well. I'll pay for you, no worries, right? And then once you go back to the customer, telling that this is the solution what you have bid for, right? I've told you that this solution which you require in, now he is not interested in it, because he has shared you a much more of a good to have features rather than must have features. So when you want to pinpoint what solution which you are creating, make sure that problem statement is well defined as such. To give an example, post this we have seen COVID-19 pandemic, right? Correct? During the COVID-19 pandemic, so I'll tell you what type of solution we revised by making a good understanding and post this retail experience which we had. Then COVID-19 hit us, and we were sitting all working from home. Everything was stopped. Only hospitals and a couple of medical commodities were being made available, and any emergency responses were. Others we were sitting in home, and factories needs to be operated because at least 50% of the factories needs to be operated also, what I was hearing from multiple news, because the production needs to go on to support it. And hospitals also need doctors and respective supporters like nurse, etc. to medicate and help the COVID-19 patients as well. And that's where the crucial part was. So what was there? The problem what we identified was the biggest problem is COVID-19 pandemic. How we can safeguard ourselves, the people, the frontline workers who were there running around at multiple places supporting. How we that was the second problem which was identified. Right? So what we did, we started customer segments were government bodies, hospitals are different, and then factories were running at 50%. If anybody gets the COVID-19, you can see the chain of the system. So we needed to make sure that 50% workers who are coming in are well checked before they are entering the factory, right? So those are the customer segments which we made. So we wanted to check if there was COVID-19 hit, the customer segment which we listed, which were only working during COVID-19 pandemic, were hospitals, government bodies, and very few factories where 50% of employees were around to work. So that was our customer segments. And what type of problems will other people were providing to safeguard this COVID-19 pandemic? There was a lockdown, that is one alternative which was provided. The people were provided with multiple PPE and masks which was there. That was one more alternative to safeguard, and we were told that to have multiple rules and regulations in place. So those were the alternatives which are available. But there was major gap is whenever people try to meet in, there was some or other way the chain of patients were getting multiplied in affecting this COVID-19 pandemic as such. So that's where we saw a great value by having these alternatives in place. What we found out that there are many people who are facing this issue, and that's how we thought of what are the existing things which are available. Right? What are existing things which are available, which are told about, and mask, various groups which were there, couple of biometric systems which were come, right? Quickly people replaced with what? Biometrics were replaced with? The face recognition system, right? So nobody will touch that biometric multiple times. So that might be one way. So there were multiple alternative solutions, but what you can bring next to the society to help in this COVID-19 pandemic. So what we got to know is we wanted to create a value. We wanted to help these societies and hospitals by utilizing their existing cameras. We wanted to ship a box which they itself plug and play. That's a value that we wanted to create, where the solution was simple to check people who are not wearing the mask, the people who are not maintaining the social distance, the people where we want to convey the hospital managers the way to clean the respective places. Right? Where all the touch points happen, but if I touch this table, this needs to be sanitized. Right? Can I identify those variables? That was a big market what we saw during this pandemic. And people wanted this product. But we needed a right channel to do it. We can't go, we don't have a permit to sell these systems, but we wanted these systems to be made available to these hospitals in a short span. We know that there were already desktops which were available, the PC systems, right? Or if they don't have that, we will ship it with our software. But we need a channeling partner to go at multiple places and multiple masses. So what we utilize? We utilize channels like the CCTV or the biometric installer who were replacing those face readers, the face biometric, we are also installing our solution. So before entering the hospital, it was scanning a face, it was checking a temperature, and it was sanitizing. And once they go in, our cameras were checking the face mask, social distancing, crowding, people crowding together, right? And then sanitization where it happens. And once sanitization happens, everything is cleared. Again, if somebody touch points, we need to sanitize. That's where we are seeing these channeling partners to connect with CCTV partners or directly sell to these hospitals by multiple partnerships. That was our channel.
So when your camera identified that one is not wearing a mask, how would the owner be notified that that has happened?
Right. With that, there were two things. One is snapshots were captured, and at the camera itself, we gave the siren. The siren was basically sirening until they wear the mask. So that was an immediate action on that real time. So how we have cameras over here. As an example, we were replacing those scooters wherever the cameras are. So that was a live, real time. If they remove the mask, we add. That's how we were able to identify. And the blockage was only thing due to the work permits and everything. But the value what we were creating, how do we monetize? We started pricing it with software and the hardware which we were selling. That's the monetary value which we added. And the cost structure was to take these products at a little bulk wage and install it and ship it to this customer. So we invested in the casing part, maybe getting it done, maybe package it in a well manner and ship it, which more is a better user friendly, I would say. The early analytics first we tried it is with government bodies, including some multiple free installations, getting a feedback from them, and then taking a target of hospitals. And then once we had a great understanding, then factories started utilizing this product. So the early adopters were government and hospital, and other segments were factories majorly, where our focus of revenue was. But early adopters were these. Right, so our channelizing and why we were unique, because we were using their cameras, we were not telling them to install new cameras or something. Existing system itself was making them effective. We're not telling them to install something new. That was our unique selling proposition where others failed to do so. So that's how I was able to jot it down and we were able to adapt via this lean cameras method and able to interact with the customers first and then creating this platform and then we made a good revenue and also helping back the society on this COVID-19 pandemic as well. The simple example which we can also relate on is Uber or Ola, which I was talking about, right? The Uber's key partners will be the drivers who will be accepting the customer's request, right? The lobbies, which basically takes the request part of it. The key activities what they will look for is hire drivers and customer service. Customer service will come at their end, and then they hire the drivers, and that's how the key activities goes for. The cost structure which is goes for is for their lobbying, salary, and the marketing part. The Uber needs to market the product. By giving a certain price, maybe they can add up their commission on whatever the service, what is being offered for driver as well as customer from going from point to point. And the channels which we used was mouth to mouth, which was very popular, which I told you about Yatra, right? I also heard about this Auto Yatra app when I was in Bangalore. Somebody told me about. So you Ola Uber book already. This app through Madi, 0% commission is directly to app book Madu. So that was a good trigger point, right? Because I'm not paying extra 30-40 rupees to Ola or Uber, I'm directly taking that platform. So mouth to mouth really helps it. That's how the growing organic platform plays a major role. Apart from that, they have social media, app and PR as an activity to market their product. Why they are unique as a value proposition for the drivers, they're giving it their passenger on demand. As for the demand basis, wherever their position of the driver's cab is, they are able to allocate at the nearby location. And also providing them a cheaper and convenience platform. It's an easy way to earn you as well, where expected convenience fee will be provided. For passengers, they are providing drivers, they are providing flexible time as possible, there is no cost related to it, it's a platform which is being provided as such. That's the relationship which are managed by support and highly automated. And their revenue streams may be paper rights, they have some commission on top of it. Search pricing, premium, Uber brands, maybe there are multiple also when you choose it right. There are light versions and full versions as well. Based on that, they charge you based on the interest what they have. And for structure, we have covered. So this is one way how Uber can fit into this canvas model. One more interesting is Amazon, right? One more way of Amazon is the problem what they have identified is lack of online bookstores. You know that Amazon started with bookstores. Yes. Right? So the lack of online bookstores, hard to select books in offline, and then there were offline stores like no rating, recommendation, hard to find. I need to go to places, it was very hard. That's how they saw the great problem. There were existing alternatives like interlock, local booksellers, where local shops were available. And through this saw an opportunity to build an online bookstore with millions of titles. They created an e-commerce based platform where every customer can come and have a look into the bookstores with multiple titles available. And why they are unique? Buy books using the PC from home and office without visiting a service local stores to find a particular book. You don't need to visit a particular showroom or a bookseller shop. Directly you can just go, type it in, log in and just book it and they will deliver at your doorstep. With these books which they were searching for, it had also the reviews and recommendations also based on the reviews. So there was a much of a convenience which was provided for. What were the different cost structure? The cost structure which was utilized you need to host this, you need the domain, you need a hosting, you need an operating cost to work with, like rent cost, maybe storage facilities, delivery, payrolls for respective salaries that needs to be paid for the people who are working. These are the basic costs for the platform. And then there was key metrics like the key metrics which they were designing is what's the website traffic. They can also take in this ROI sales conversion rates, visitor percentage, how many persons are visiting. Somebody adds to the cart and just leaves off. Right? So we can target those, etc. And then from a high level concept, Earth's biggest bookstore, company's positional tagline, they have done this is a great concept, which again now we know where the Amazon stands. What they had an unfair advantage, that's an unique selling proposition in another way. It's the low price, less employees, less rent, payment and other costs, no competition for online booksellers. There was no competition as such where they can go and have a fair advantage of this. And the clear customer segment was book readers. The people who are loving to read or have enthusiasm to read, yes, with their customer profiling. Right? We can't sell it to the other ones. So those are the customer profiling, what they did. To sell it initially, customers searching for rare and specialized book, internet users looking for book selling services. Those were the early adopters to test that is this platform really works. And then via once the channelizing platform, the affiliate platform, maybe if I might say in my mail, if you buy this, use my coupon code of this, I might get some paid of 10%, 15%. That's how affiliate marketing does, right? If you buy this product, you get this percentage. That's an affiliate marketing. Resellers are there at multiple distribution network, where resellers can sell it as well. And they are making a direct revenue, where they pay via payment expected gateways, they earn their commission, and they deliver the book at the expected locations as such. This is how Amazon fits in this particular canvas model. Any doubts on the previous one of this platform? So this is to give an example so that you can give a thought process for your idea. If you don't have an idea as such, you can collaborate over here. I'll give you some time post one or two slides. Then you can start interacting, understand what their idea is, what the problem, what they are solving it, and start helping them as a handholding. There's nothing wrong to give a thought process to his idea so that you can also collaborate. If you like that idea as well, you can collaborate as well because you have a strength and strength given as well, which I was talking to you about.
Sir, about your startup, was it your own invention or did you modify or upgrade the inventions that were already there in the form
We upgraded, there were already systems available. What we were doing for factory industries, that was actually a pure B2B interaction, where we itself went, knocked the doors of multiple factories, telling that we need around 15 to 20 minutes of your time. And that's how the interactions went in. We started interacting with multiple factories with the electrical heads, mechanical heads, wherever it is, security, safety heads, and started talking with multiple clients around as much as possible with our network. Again, I will talk about how mentor plays a major role on the idea which you have. So, mentor connected us to multiple. That's where we cleared a pathway, started understanding what the common path looks like, what are the existing systems available, and what's lacking in this, and what you can provide. Again, it was a similar platform which was there, which was much enhanced with an upgraded version, which made something unique where customers were trying to extract this solution and take it at a better place.
was it kind of when you sell a product, then was it a monthly based payment or kind of service based payment or
So that depends for specifically for us, since it's our B2B system, we sell a hardware and a software. Software is a subscription model, they just keep paying. Hardware is a monthly. Because for hardware, once you buy, they pay like X amount, but Y amount what they pay will pay at AX. Then there will be a service subscription cost. But again, it depends on the kind of problem that you are working on. It might be a subscription model, it might be a one-time model, which you need to think about case-to-case basis. But for us, as a system, we have hardware plus software. In software, we subscribe on subscription basis. Hardware will be one-time basis.
So you could collab with the camera companies and add on your software and merge your software with them and provide them as an add-on to the camera.
Correct. So this becomes our channel partner. One way that we do it, apart from selling for directly with B2B, we sell it to the camera manufacturers itself. Where along with the cameras they install, we sell it to the dealerships of CCTV cameras. That's one more way that we do it. Or we collaborate with other AI IoT companies where they lack these capabilities, and we have a special partnership with them where they cover a couple of states for us. Like we are very well situated and we have a great connects in Karnataka. Maybe somebody has a great connects in Maharashtra where they can look after the deployments which will be done will be on Docker. That's the one more channel partner for deployment of this where they will deploy our solutions. Yes.
Like I guess Docker also has Docker software has a Nadu centers.
Yeah.
And also tracking
Yeah, so that's how it becomes. So instead of selling directly for them, right? I would have sold to a CCTV partner who would install that. That becomes one more thing. So you have multiple channels which you need to find out. So we have found out that we can directly sell, or we can sell it to a camera vendor, camera dealerships, or the vendors what we say, or the actual manufacturer itself. So it might be global also, which we can go with. We sell the box to the global, they might install to some factory or something where any remote support we will be there, but the front ending people will be their companies. So that's how the challenges are being taken care of. And whenever you have an idea or a problem, you want to get that authenticated, or you already know that you can interact with them, share the Google form where you can collect the data. Once you have a great data, you need some guidance, right? Is this a common thing which has this problem which I can see based on the data which I have gathered? I need someone to guide me with my industry knowledge. To do that, one way is maybe if your problem is very relative, is very similar to the business where your family is working around, maybe your nearby family members might have this experience in such, you can also go and interact with them. They might give you a good clarity. Because since you are in minds, you need that guidance, that is one way. To look for an immediate one is to go with your respective nearby connects. Maybe your dad knows nearby, your mother knows nearby, or your family knows nearby. That will be a good connector. If you have, as an example, if there is a chemical industry based problem you identified, look for some alternates where dad can find a chemical industry based friends or something and start interacting with them. And nothing comes. Maybe they take some time due to their busy schedules, but try to go and on the flow and understand is this path which I've set and the data which I've gathered looks relatively simple, good, and can they mentor you? That's one way. Second thing is, as TYE Hubli itself, as Rajiv was mentioning about, we have already mentors who will be assigned based on your technology or whatever the platform, the segment which you are working. Based on that, we have mentors who can guide you and nurture. That's one more way. That's where we are here as TYE Hubli and entrepreneurs to see that can we utilize this as a platform, connect with the respective mentors, and build an impactful product which will help a community in one or the other way. That's the second part of it. Or third is a LinkedIn, which we have heard of. The one which I have not heard. LinkedIn is basically a tool which you can connect to the respective experience of professionals, where you can also create your profile and look for the ones which you are looking for based on your expectation. Right? So that's how the multiple areas as such. One more way which I've been hearing a lot, right? You might have a great problem to solve, but you don't know. It might be a software-related solution which you need to create. It's always not the software. As an example, which I'm talking about, a homemade products which you want to sell, you just get connected with an aggregator platform and you sell it. That's where no software requirement as such. If I was taking an example of an online painting as such, I need to create an e-commerce platform. But I have a zero knowledge since I'm coming from a commerce background, or maybe a background which I don't have any knowledge of what the programming is really about. How to create the solution for it. That will be your biggest question in this, right? Because you know that this is how the solution is created, you of course already work on this perfect canvas model in place. If you don't have that expected knowledge, there are always tools available which are called as no-code platform. It doesn't want you to code, but these are platforms which are drag and drop, just like a GUI editor. GUI is basically graphical user interface, where the drag and drop tools which you can play around. As an example, WordPress is one. WordPress is one where you can host your website in easy way. You can note it down also. If you want to connect that WordPress to e-commerce page, there is an e-commerce plugin. Right? It gives you an end-to-end platform where it will be an e-commerce where she or he can display their paintings with the respective rates connected to their payment gateway. That's one way to do it. Or in an Android app, there is MIT's free GUI editor-based app where you can create your Android apps in a better way. I'm unable to recall the name of that particular platform, but it's being created and developed by MIT students itself. It's an kind of again an app-based geo editor. So there are tools available. It's nothing wrong that you don't have experience in technology. You can create those or get connected with your friends and colleagues who might have some experience in the technological field. Right? One of the interesting thing which I had learned in my engineering days when there was very similar session on this idea validation and building the lean canvas was I saw a student. I told him that can you create an application to take an input from a user where that input will be helpful where whenever the visitor comes in to visit a factory, right? They will verify the document and then they will send a gate pass to them. So can you create a prototype? What the students interestingly did, they wanted to create these mock-ups, right? They wanted to show me an actual demo. And the time was very short and it was to create a code that was very hard. And they wanted to create this platform to showcase with me. So they took a notebook, they cut those papers, how the mobile app looks, they converted that to this one and started drawing this in a pencil. And they draw on top of that they wrote name and they created a box. They wrote name, then downside they wrote as Aadhaar card, then they created a box with pencil. And then they created submit, they wrote, and then they created and they just cropped this and made that as a background background app of that. So you can see that app had actually a paper cut page itself. That was actually a small proof of concept which was validating that idea, what they were looking for to build. And then on top of that, they overlap those input boxes. It's an easy way to get something done at the shortest span, right? An easy way to do also. So those input box were overlapped, and then there was submit paper button. If I click on that, there was going to some other page. So without spending much of a time in the GUI coding, everything which they didn't have any knowledge since they were very young and they were very minimal with software knowledge, but they were able to create those. So you have to think about these perspectives also. If you want to create this small layer of proof of concept, can you get some ways, I would say more of a jugadu way to get something validated sooner or faster. If the validation it's giving you a right matrix and good monetary value, then start expanding. It may not be such that your cost budget is so much, I need so much of money, then I will be able to build a proof of concept in nothing as such. When you minimize as such, when you focus on the right budgetary cost which is required for your proof of concept, build on top, again your monetary value itself can give you some profits, from their profits you can again nurture. And as the journey goes by, you might be exposed to multiple networking platforms, mentoring platforms, where mentors might itself will be excited to invest in those platforms or those solutions which are building for the right problem. Right? Okay. So it's nothing harm always to think about that if software-based solution I not have a tendency to build. There are multiple tools available which you can research a little bit and Google will be able to fetch you some couple of tools which you can build. Right. Airbnb was one more way which we also discussed in a way to make it a little shorter and let's take some time and explain this. You already know the problem which we were facing, which we already discussed. There were alternative platforms like Booking.com and Hotels.com. They wanted to create an affordable local platform where the local owners can earn extra by renting out their space. And they saw an unfair advantage like any homeowner can rent out the space which is idle, and there was a bi-directional trust building system with a rating system in place. And unique proposition they have, the travelers can get authentic experience of the local area itself, rather than staying in natural hotels, and like some monetization for the vacant areas as such. And the channels were referrals, recommendation, advertising platforms, and the key metrics were number of visits to the booking portals, etc. And they were charging revenue via the fees from the travelers. And cost structures were from various. They might be needed to go to place initially, where they need to click some great features for how the rental space looks like. They wanted to host it. They wanted to provide an insurance payroll for them. Okay, they needed a marketing campaign to run and some development and hosting costs. Those were actual costs which are involved. Right? So you need to plan it what are the actual cost which is involved and create a cost budget structure accordingly. So no need to write any values as such. Just whatever idea which you have, whatever the budget cost structure is, just write in a brief bullet points and such. It might be a bullet point or it can be a great content like this as well in your idea, which you can think upon and start using those canvas paper, what I have covered. This is one. So YouTube you already know. I'll take a pause over here by taking this as a YouTube because YouTube is one which we can relate on, which already know that YouTube has made a significant impact. Where there was flicker of a video as well, which was already has a high level concept which was available. Like just in earlier days where Google Video, Vimo, Shareable, but there was no hosting video as a service. That's where they created a website devoted to this ambitious videos. That's where how I am live, able to speak. It's a free platform where people are able to see and interact with, being an online interaction. This is how we do mass thing. So there was mass bucket of users. There were a lot of video bloggers and advertisers wanted to campaign and such. And you know that until you don't click through ads as such, the video doesn't click, right? That's how their monetization value looks like. And that's where the revenue streams like investment, advertising revenue, which they play for. And then amateur bloggers or the bloggers who want to share their content are making their data available since there was no hosting video service platform as such. So taking a pause on this, start thinking on your problem. If you might not have interacted much with the customers, no worries. This will become this will just your start to work on some schematics and then you can start working. So take some time, maybe some 10 minutes, 10 minutes. Start writing it down. We'll have some people who can come and speak on these terms and go back to the same main page, which is everything, and you can start jotting it down what your problem is, what solution you are looking for, and so on.
Can we come up with a solution wherein we can share this page online also, but they cannot download it?
Word file can be downloaded.
Word from YouTube. In the description of the video. So let's see if these guys come, we can scan that thing and upload it and they can download and
That would be good.
Vishal, can you do that?
So once you want to collaborate, start interacting with each other.
What I was thinking, if you can scan that thing or soft copy is there, you can upload it on YouTube.
Yeah, we can.
Maybe they can download and they can also do the exercise.
We can do it.
Right.
In the description we can.
And don't create your own groups. One good part in this 10 minutes which you can utilize, start having an interaction parallelly so that whatever the ideas which you can also talk with them, this is how the idea, this is what I've created. Just share with among themselves, maybe they can refine a little bit for you. Right? So don't just create the groups. Once you create this, just validate from other groups also.
I have an individual idea.
I have shared only one. Oh, okay. I can share it.
Money back.